Let me talk about this MIT study quickly because you'll find this very fascinating. So this study was basically looking at what's actually going on inside vector space, which is the brain of large language models, let's call it. And is it really going to fundamentally displace the need for human beings acting as software engineers? And it doesn't look at it from the perspective of the tasks to be done. It looks at it from this perspective. There are these things called hallucinations, which, if we were honest, we would just say is bugs. We don't call it bugs because we try to, anthropomorphize? Is that what it's called when you turn something into being like a person? Yeah. So we try to make AI, we say, I spoke to her or I spoke to him. But it's just it's just a software, right? And so it looks at these, because really what's stopping the permanent mainstreaming of large language models to displace workers is these mistakes that they're making, these hallucinations. So this MIT study said, let's look at how this actually exists and let's look at when we're going to get rid of it. And this is what they came up with. Now, it's a bit complicated. I'm going to say it very simply. So there's this idea of tokens. Now, I really tried to understand long and hard what they mean when they say current LLMs operate with 40,000 tokens.
It's a bit like the currency of AI.
So what they mean in this context is there are 40,000 different ways, there are 40,000 discrete ways that it understands information. That's what it means. So when you tell it something or when it trains on a piece of data, it will chop up that data into different segments so it can understand each segment of the data and how that data relates to other things. And at the moment, there's 40,000 tokens, 40,000 different discrete chunks of understanding that it has. Okay, so that's fine. It's hard to conceptualize that. I feel like I'm not 100% of the way there, but that's as far as I've gotten in understanding it, okay? And now the question is, what do we do with those 40,000 chunks of information when we have conversations? And the answer is that in an ideal world, so do you know what it means in maths for something to be orthogonal?
Nope.
Okay, it means it's at right angles. That's all it means. And so on Earth, we've got 3 dimensions that are orthogonal: length, width, height. That means you can run each one as far as you want.
Length, width, depth.
Or whatever you want to call them. Yes, fine, yes. And so you can run them as far as you want in either direction. Those lines will never touch because they are at perfect right angles. So orthogonal. Why is there a special word? I don't know. and so that's beautiful. They never touch. But the minute I add a fourth line, let's forget about time as a dimension for a second. The minute I add a fourth line, if I run it in one or the other direction, it's eventually going to start interfering with one of the existing lines. We can call those 3 things dimensions. So this is why we use the word not we, use the word dimensions. LLMs are now up to 4,000 dimensions. What that means is that you can have 4,000 chunks of information that could be interpreted in such a way as they would never be confused with any other piece of information, because no matter how far you go in each direction, they're never going to interfere with each other. But there's a problem. I just told you there's 40,000, not 4,000. Yeah. And so you've got 40,000 T-shirts that you're trying to get into a drawer that holds 4,000 T-shirts. Or maybe we can say 100 T-shirts, you're trying to get into a drawer that holds 10. And the thing about LLMs, if they've developed really smart ways to pack stuff in. Like they fold T-shirts in a certain way and put them on an angle and jam them in. But no matter what you do, they're going to be overlapping. And so when I say, I want to know about a piece of information, let's say I'm talking about like a riverbank. Maybe that when it wants to talk about a riverbank, it wants to pull out a white T-shirt. But when it pulls out a white T-shirt, there's all these other T-shirts touching it that are going to come out a bit as well. Yeah. And it doesn't know it's also pulling those T-shirts out. And maybe instead of talking about a riverbank, it talks about a riverbank and then it starts talking about a bank, like that I go and put money in. Now that's a dumb example because it wouldn't make that kind of mistake, right? But like That's an example of how having too many different types of information packed into too small a space with not enough dimensions means you're going to get overlap